It's all been done before. Hey yo, welcome back to the Jimi Priceless Show. We're back once again, episode number 48. Shout out to everyone that checked out the previous episode, just to let y'all know, to reiterate, I ain't done yet, If you saw the last episode, I'm back with another one. So, with this week's episode, I wanted to speak about something that I was like thinking about recently. Because, some top tips for any artists out there who have their music on streaming platforms and who use DistroKid and possibly other ones, but I'm just speaking on DistroKid. So Amazon, if you have a Spotify artist profile, you can submit to playlists beforehand, if you go under your releases that are upcoming. Amazon now offers the same functionality, so you can submit to Amazon playlists. So basically, you just need to download the Amazon Music app, create an account, or use your login details if you have one already, and then claim your artist profile, and then you'll have to go through maybe a few more steps just to verify it. I think you can do it on your laptop or desktop as well. You just go to the Amazon Music homepage or whatever and log in over there. And I don't have a lot of people that I specifically know that use Amazon for streaming, but I mean, if it's a chance to get on the playlist, it's free exposure. So for any artists out there that don't know about it yet, go claim your Amazon Music profiles, and start submitting your upcoming releases to Amazon playlists. But as I was going through this process, I just came to, at the same time, I usually, when I drop a song, I always email it to a set list of radio stations, with no luck or success so far, for whatever reasons. But to me, it just came to mind how ain't nothing new, it's just shit just gets remixed and updated and facelifted, but it's the same thing. Because if you look at, in the same way how people send music to radio stations or used to send music to radio stations is currently how people send music to playlists, and the good and the bad that comes with it, because playlists are basically the number one, worldwide I'm speaking now, the number one source where people discover music, whether it's algorithmic, and they figure out your tastes, or whether it's on the rap caviars, and those big name curated playlists, it's the same concept, whereas you're trying to get on their lists, and even with payola, which is technically illegal, but we know how it goes, if you do a favor for someone, they're gonna put you in a position. So, and it's the same thing with playlists, although it's a bit more open, because it's not overseen by a broadcasting commission. People will have $10 placement spots on my playlist, it'll usually be smaller playlists, but I'm sure that it happens at these in the same way where it's favor for favor vibes at the bigger playlists, where it's if you promote your Spotify link to your song more than the Apple one, will kind of wink nudge help you out on some playlists, or certain things of those nature. I just made up that example. Especially if you consider if a head of a label has invested in Spotify, then obviously they want Spotify to do well, which means that their artists will then have to be pushed heavily on Spotify because they're investing, and it's one hand washes the other. And and that just translates to everything, even if you look at how video streaming platforms like Netflix was gonna kill off the decoder, the DSTV decoder and the decoders used to have back in the day. But if you look at it now, it's there are so many options. You got Netflix, you got Amazon Prime, you got Showmax, that people are now again starting to buy decoders, the smart box footages with all the apps on it. And it's things just come full circle again, it's just a new face, new brands, but it's the same concepts that always happen. No matter what, that's just the concept, no matter what it is. things can always be traced back, way before it started, and that's why when it comes to my music, I don't really push to like come up with some new shit, some new genre. As far as the music I release, for anyone that's heard like my unheard beats, my beats that I don't finish, they know it's a mess because I be trying all kinds of shit. But as far as the music I release, it's kind of like, what's the point really, if something works, of course there's always ways for it to work better, but it's like kind of like that meme of like a bent, like a fork, and then all the points are like bent out of shape, and it like says unique does not mean useful. So it's kind of like that same concept where it's like, if I don't feel it sounds good or it adds value, I'm not gonna do it just because it's different. And I think that's why a lot of people, overcomplicate things. That's why I get a lot of bars, that are like just complete reaches, because this guy tried to like fill 18 references in like 2 bars, and then it's just kind of a mess, Sometimes it's best to just keep it simple, like I'm a firm believer in like, minimalism and, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Mostly because I'm lazy, but, also for like artistic reasons, of kind of like just getting your point across. Even in my own writing, like I would be a victim of that, but I would try to be too wordy and too like 4 or 5, like, deep cut references in a bar. And it's like, as I've gotten older especially, it's kind of like, I'm at a point where it's like, just tell it to me straight, when I'm listening to a song, I don't want you to tell me how you feel using a metaphor of the ocean or some shit, you know what I mean? Just tell me how you feel. Like, just get it over and done with. And I mean, everything has its own, everything has a time and a place, but as far as, doing it for the sake of trying to be the first to do it is just not in my book. And I'm not scared to say it, like, I can't remember who the quote is by, but they were like, good artists copy, great artists steal. So I was like, boom. I wasn't the first one on the YouTube show. Even when you look at the Verse Major, like video series I did, I stole that from like Colors, like I'm not sure where the series is from, but I know it's like international, where people just be rapping to a mic they're singing from supposedly the series. I was like, I'm gonna take that shit and make it my own. So, innovation sometimes is better than invention, just because for the fact that it's just a numbers game, there's only so many time signatures that exist in the world. There's only so many things you can do with a beat at a certain BPM, and so on for whatever you do. There's only so many different ways of doing it for it to be successful in achieving a subjective, whether it's to entertain, just for the moment, whether it's to give a message, So yeah, I mean, to all the artists that are out there trying to push the boundaries, kudos to you all, because nobody's really gonna appreciate it. Even if you look at like Kanye's Jesus album when it first came out, people were so like, oh, what shit is this? But then if you listen to like how it influenced albums that came afterwards, and how much better those albums like executed some of those ideas on Jesus, it was a lot more refined. It was a lot more polished. It was a lot easier to digest. And not that that was, I don't think that was his intention to make it easy to digest. But what I mean is, it took other artists to kind of mold it into something that can be either still as wild and as wacky as it was, or it can be a kind of more accepted sound. And, not a knock on any of those artists, in terms of, it's playing it safe and making it easily to digest. But just, I just think, sometimes just things are just, people just get caught up in the hype of saying some shit, like, I invented this style. Or I didn't. It's like, nah, I probably didn't. Even if you look at like rapping as a thing, rapping wasn't even a rapping, If you look at the history of how it was, nobody just started saying, yo, I'm a rapper, I make words rhyme, I invented the shit, that's completely taken from a different culture. And then it evolved. So yeah, I just wanted to share my train of thought on that subject, But to all the innovators, shout out to y'all. To all the inventors, shout out to y'all. To everyone playing their part and really doing it for the sake of the actual song or the album or the music video. I feel it's becoming, I don't want to say it's becoming rare, but it's becoming harder to find really good examples of having a pure intention and also having an excellent execution. Because usually, people that, are in it for this is my pure artistic vision. They're usually kind of newer. They don't have the resources. So the end product is never really that polished. Whereas the people that do have access to these things, usually because they've been doing it for a while, and they might have tried to do something really true to their artistic vision and then just notice that, they spend all the money on the equipment and the post-production and then they unleash this thing and nobody really cares. So then they kind of have to change their vision, and kind of like, oh shit, I have to make a return on this investment. And, in that end, you kind of lose that kind of spark of something, really dope and unique. Because, like the artist, like he probably has done that, for many years to no avail. So it's like, fuck it, let me just give these people what they want. The real easy to do shit, the real easy to watch, easy to like things. And I don't knock either. But I think because of that contrasting situations, it's harder to find someone who can, say this is my artistic vision and then also have had a level of success or just have had a good enough amount of disposable income to bring that to life, and you usually only see it at these high levels like the Beyoncés and the Weeknds and, the super high level artists where they can actually say, this is what I have. I have shitload of worth of money, in terms of budget, and I can just execute everything perfectly to what's in my mind. So I'm not sure how I got to this today, thought though. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, that's what it was. Why I think it's harder to find, people that are really doing it for the sake of the art. But yeah, we got bills to pay, people have been losing jobs, it's the Omarian variant of COVID that's coming. Well, that's here. So yeah, I get both sides. But yeah, I just wanted to give the message, that don't break your back trying to be so unique that, that idea that you bring forth in its final form is hard to decode or decipher or digest. Because, at the end of the day, that's your purpose of making something, is to give a message. So no matter how unique it might be, if the receiver doesn't get the message and you kind of fucked up, But yeah, that's just my take on it. So if you guys have your thoughts on it, drop it below in the comments. And let me know what you guys think. Do you feel that you're more of an innovator, like you build on what already existed, or do you feel that you like the challenge of making something that doesn't exist, at least to your knowledge? But yeah, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll be back next week with another one. Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't. Let me know what you want to see on the next episode, and I will, address those points right here next week. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out.